Hey, Scarefest family, maybe? Let's try that instead of fans again. I'm Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly here once again to give you a review. Now, if you're of a certain age, 106, like me, I remember seeing Creepshow as a kid, sneaking and watching it probably on cable or something, about 5 or 6 years old. Basically, a play on EC Comics, which was Tales from the Crypt. I loved Creepshow as a child. I still love Creepshow. Actually, if you're in my house, 3 feet that way, I've got an original one sheet Creepshow poster with Bernie Wrightson, who did the original artwork. It's one of the most beautiful posters I own. George Romero signed it. Bernie signed it. He's passed on. George is now passed on. And it's the one poster I have that's actually signed by Stephen King. That's another story for another day of how I got that done. They made a Creepshow 2. Some of it's not bad. They made a Creepshow 3. I've never even bothered to watch it. Back to the series. It's pretty good. Some of the stories are about Joe R. Lansdale, Joe King. Some people call him Joe Hill, but his actual real name's Joe King. Stephen King has a story there, The Gray Matter, that has an all-star cast: Adrienne Barbeau, Tobin Bell, Giancarlo Esposito. Some of them are really good. I'm going to go through the list of what I like. So there's only six, Joe. This is 5. There's only 6 episodes, and each episode is about 45 to 47 minutes long, and they have 2 stories in them. So you're basically getting 12 stories, 12 episodes, in my mind. They do a really good job of capturing what Creepshow was like, getting that whole EC Comics vibe, having the creeper introduce them, not talk of laugh, using the animation to their best. There's a werewolf episode where they can't afford the transition from a man to a werewolf. So when he starts to turn, they change the animation for the transformation. It does suffer from the budget. It is really low budget. DJ Qualls is in an episode, if you know Supernatural. A couple of them are directed by Greg Nicotero, the famous KNB effects Nicotero. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead, he directed a lot of The Walking Dead. Does the zombie schools. He's the one with the cool long hair. John Harrison, who worked on the original Creepshow, Dawn of the Dead, went on to be a director in his own right, directing the Dune miniseries. It has a lot of talent behind it. And like I said, a lot of good authors lend their stories. Here are some of the episodes I really liked. The House of the Head, which is written by John Harrison, is really creepy. There's a head in a girl's doll house, and she keeps moving it, and it keeps terrorizing the dolls. It's a little zombie. Another one I really liked was called All Hallows Eve, and it follows around 4 kids on Halloween, and I'm not going to give away anything. There's a couple of them that kind of suck. Some of them just suffer from their such low budget. The last one is, I'm a huge fan of The Monkey's Paw. I direct, and I'll never show it to you, but my first short film when I was 16, 17 years old was an adaptation of The Monkey's Paw, and they have their own here. It's called Night of the Paw, and it has Bruce Davis, and Bruce actually has been to Scarefest before. Look him up if you're not familiar with him. He was in the original Willard film. There's some name actors in this. Jeffrey Combs, David Arquette. Should you check out Creepshow if you haven't already seen it? Yeah, I've liked it a lot. It's pretty good. Now, the series has got a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's a little high. They get what Creepshow was like, and Greg Nicotero started out working for Romero. He was, his first professional job was makeup effects on Day of the Dead. So it is kind of cool. He does a little segment about how his career's kind of, did a 360 coming back. So check out Creepshow. It's on Shudder. None of them are so awful you can't watch it. There's a couple that I didn't care for, but there's 2 or 3 that are amazing. I mean, the great Dana Gould is one called Skin Crawlers. That's pretty good about weight loss. Not that I need to lose anything. This has been Joe Lewis, Bonehead Weekly. Thank you so much. Check out Creepshow, the series on Shudder.